All right, so basically, all right, so we're live right now. If anyone has clicked play, they would be able to actually see it right now. If I think we've got Rebecca on our team who's just telling people to click play to see the webinar. If
So they can't hear you right now.
they can hear me right now, actually.
Okay.
If they've clicked play, they should be able to hear me just on a slight delay, and that would mean they can hear you as well, Pam.
Perfect.
So it's Matt here from TourismTiger. I'm sitting with Pam here from GuideAdvisor. Where are you, Pam?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I've never been to Canada, never been to Vancouver, but one of our team members actually is probably going to be visiting Vancouver later this year, so we might get them to pay a visit. So,
Definitely.
so now that we've got people listening, it would be great to hear get some confirmations in the chat box that everything is working okay for everyone, that everyone can actually hear and see what we're talking about. So, cool. Let's wait for those reactions in the chat. So
you want people saying things like, "I'm okay, I can hear."
yeah, all that kind of stuff,
Great.
right? So we'll just have to see. And yeah, so from what I can see, it is working. I'm looking at another monitor right now, and it's totally working fine. So obviously, the topic we'll be talking about very soon is 10 no designer required website improvements. It's for the whoa. We've got Pam's this video is just popping up there. I've got to, I think, make it stick to mine. All right, 1 second. All right.
This
so
is like very interesting to look at. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So cool. So we've got just one or two little technical hiccups there. Let's see if we can. All right. So yeah, guys, we're going to start soon, but obviously we need to make sure that everyone can hear us fine, see us fine. So if anyone, if people can leave their responses in the chat box, that would be very helpful. So Pam, how long have you been with GuideAdvisor?
Just going on a year now, although I did do some freelance work for them before coming on board last April or May. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've been having a good time, keeping very, very busy.
All right. Yeah, so things are we're in Chile, Santiago. I'm not sure if everyone realizes that. So we've got a very broad well, 2 continents representing on this webinar today. How good is it, the internet? And I think we've got registrants from pretty much all continents around the world as well. But so we have a few technical issues here. People saying can't see or hear anything yet, neither for me. So we've got Rebecca's in the chat helping people out. If you please refresh the page, press play. So we just need to really make sure that people are clicking play.
Yeah.
And yeah, so unfortunately, webinars, it's 2016. There still can be the occasional hiccup. All right, we have a few people saying loud and clear. Okay, working great. So it looks like there was a bit of a pause there, but things should be okay. So guys, if you are listening to this, sorry for the delay. Obviously, we want to make sure as many people can get this incredible, well, hopefully incredible information as possible. We're just a couple of minutes late. I think we'll just maybe give 1 more minute, and then we'll get going now that we're getting some positive feedback from the chat. Make sure if you are listening as well, just to join us on the chat as well. It'd be really interesting to hear your name, and also what is the name of your tool? Like, what do you do? What does your tool company do? So Pam says she's getting some overlap on audio. I think that would just be you, Pam, because yeah, just because of the technical stuff with you actually being on the Hangout with me. But I think everyone should be okay. Joey, Eduardo, Pam says, of course it's just me. Well, Pam's got a special secret connection to the direct feed of my audio, actually. So this is how it's all happening. Cool. So we'll probably get started, I think. So Pam, you were going to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm happy to kick us off.
All right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
All right, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session, 10 no designer required website improvement tips. My name is Pam Dennis, and I'm the content manager for GuideAdvisor. We are super excited to have so many of you joining us today for our very first collaborative workshop with our good friends at TourismTiger. Just before we kick things off, a couple of housekeeping items. First off, you should see the chat window with the blue border on the right side of your screen. Before you can use this chat window to communicate with us during the session, you need to pick one of the 3 options that are presented when you click on Set Name in the lower right. So I encourage you to take just a minute now and actually sign up, which is option 3. If you do this, then your temporary name won't time out during the session, and it will be a bit easier for us to respond to you directly. Don't worry though. By signing up, you won't receive any spam emails or anything. Once you're all set up, you can use the chat window to let us know if you have any technical problems at any point during the session. Also, the chat feature is where you can pose your business and site design questions at the end of the session during the Q&A portion. If you have any problems with a bad connection, remember, you can change the speed setting of the YouTube video by using the settings icon. It looks kind of like a wheel in the lower right corner of the YouTube window. You'll see that we've included our contact info at the end of the workshop materials in case you have questions for us at GuideAdvisor or for TourismTiger that don't occur to you until after the session. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And now, without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce our presenter for today's session. Matt Newton is CEO of TourismTiger. With his background in marketing for the travel sector and experience leading his successful web design company, he is uniquely positioned to identify key design and strategy tactics that lead to higher conversions and drive sales for tour operators. Today, he's sharing his top tips with us. So welcome, Matt. We're really happy to have you with us today.
All right, thank you so much for welcoming me onto this webinar. Pam, what an incredible introduction that was. I think that's easily, far and away, the best introduction I've ever received. You kind of set up everyone for me very nicely. Everyone's very much ready to go, and now I just got to take this away. So hey guys, so my name's Matt. I am from TourismTiger. Could be the case this is the first time you've actually heard of us before, but don't worry, in just 1 second I'll introduce myself. We are very excited to present this. I'm based in Chile, like I said earlier, for those who missed out, and there's going to be Rebecca, who's on our team, who's going to be sitting in on the chat box with us during this session. Just if you have any questions, if you have any technical difficulties, and obviously Pam is going to be there as well. So, but before I start telling you about how to run your business, who am I? Well, this is a photo of our team. So there's happy smiling faces of our team in our offices there. And you got me, and obviously I'm on the very left of that photo. I'm the guy with there's 2 guys with black t-shirts. I'm the guy who's got the gorgeous girl in his arms. That's Rebecca right there, who's my fiance and also works with us at TourismTiger. She's wearing the red sweater. So that's our team, and we're really excited. And so am I an expert to actually know what I'm talking about? That's a pretty good question to have. And absolutely, yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm the author of Sell More Tours, which I wrote it myself, and I edited it myself, so you might find 1 or 2 little things in there. But if you do buy this book, I promise you're going to get so much good information about how to sell more tours. I've written for more industry blogs and websites and magazines than literally anyone in the industry. I've been working in this space for years and years and years now. I've got a lot of information to share with you today. I'm going to drop so much knowledge on you today, which is why I need to make sure, as Pam said, that you just need to be focusing. We need to just make sure to shut off all distractions, make sure that we have the door closed, that if you haven't let your team members know yet, if you do have team members that you're going to be on a webinar now, I'd recommend that you do that right now, because like I said, I'm going to be dropping some serious information. And like I said, and like Pam said, we will be sending that recording through, but obviously if you're going to dedicate your time to this now, you might as well get it done the first time in the right way. So make sure you have your notepad out, that you're ready to go. We also have a a free gift for those who stay all the way through, and I'll tell you what that is in just a second. And just remember, these tips are the most useful if you have your website's login to edit content. Now, I'm going to present you a lot of information. A lot of it's going to have to do with stuff that you would do to your website in order to make those improvements. So if you actually have the ability to edit your website, it's going to help. But if you do need any help or something like that, if you're not a website editing expert or anything like that, that's totally okay. We're going to have a lot of Q&A at the end. And you might be thinking, well, what is my free gift? Well, if you registered for the webinar, you should have already received the entire copy of the Sell More Tours book as a PDF to your email. If you haven't received that yet, you're going to get a link at the very end of this webinar to download that book. But we're also giving away another gift. We're actually in the middle of putting together a $500 video course. It's going to be on udemy.com, literally $497. And that is going to be a full video course accompaniment to the book. It's going to have around 50 to 60 videos going through every single aspect of online marketing for tour operators. And like I said, it's going to be a gift. We're going to give you access to that for free. We've got about, I think, 20 videos uploaded to that course now. And if you register, you're going to get free access to all of those videos as they go up. And once that course is finished, completed, it's all uploaded, we're going to lock that to new registrants, and it will be 100% paid from then after that. So all you need to do is just sit through to the end. Is that a fair thing to ask? I think that's a very good incentive, actually. It's a legal bribe. So let's get into it. So if you're going to have a successful online marketing campaign, you're going to have 5 key components that really define whether your online marketing is going to be successful. The first one is probably the most important one, and that is, do you actually have an excellent product? Do you do excellent tours, or do you offer excellent tours or experiences? And not just are they excellent for the people who actually come, are they actually attractive to people who have not yet come? So before we get into any of the online marketing stuff, before we get into strategy or tactics or anything like that, you need to understand that unless your product is extremely attractive to people, it's going to struggle to compete. So this is the first thing I always comment to people on. We found businesses all over the world. They have terrible online marketing presence, but because their tour seems so cool, it kind of helps compensate for that. And then you have other people that have what probably could be a cool tour, but they've done so much marketing work and they're still not getting sales. So that could mean that the tour actually in and of itself is not that attractive. The next one is excellent content. So you need to have a great descriptions, incredible photos, great videos, and I'm going to get into this webinar on how to do that. The next one is to have a well-built website. Obviously, if your website loads after 15 minutes, no one's going to hang around and let it load. But obviously, if you think about it, it's like a scale. If it takes 10 seconds to load, obviously some people are going to be patient enough, some people won't be patient enough. If it takes 5 seconds to load, it's the same kind of thing. And we do know that actually that there are many things in terms of the actual build of a website that affect the sales. Next thing, obviously, is relevant interested traffic. If you don't have any interested traffic coming to your website, then obviously there's not going to be a huge amount that can be done for you. So to have a really successful online marketing campaign, absolutely we need to make sure we got relevant visitors looking at our tours, and not just at our website, but also to our GuideAdvisor profile. And the last one is visitor retention. And this is so important, and something that basically no one talks about when they're talking about online marketing is how do I get visitors to come back to my website once they've left? And there's a few ways we can do that. I'll touch upon that maybe today, and we'll jump straight in. So we need to have a very frank and honest conversation about your website. I've literally visited thousands of tour operator websites all around the world, and I used to actually have the deep access to the statistics of many of these websites, because I used to be the online marketing manager for over 60 different tourism and hospitality websites in Australia, because I was an online marketing specialist for tourism and hospitality businesses. And when you have access to those kinds of statistics, you actually learn a lot of really interesting things about how websites can be effective and how maybe they could leak sales, how maybe where they could be getting 12 sales, they're actually getting 9. Because it's not just about getting sales or not getting sales, it's about maximizing sales. And what I learned was that nearly all websites are built incorrectly. what I learned was that most web designers don't actually have a methodology for generating more bookings. Most web designers are just following trends or literally just guessing. You can ask your web designer, why did you put a headline there? And you'll feel them sort of blustering around trying to actually figure out how to give you a quick answer. But the reality is that without proven systems, proven formulas, then you won't be able to do it. So I'm going to give you some of those systems and formulas today. All right, so I need to ask you a question first. And obviously, if we're going to improve, we need to be able to measure that improvement. And I'll talk about analytics in a little bit. But the key thing we need to know is how many bookings do you get per 1,000 visitors to your website? How many bookings do you get per 1,000 visitors to your website? Do you get 15 bookings for every 1,000 visitors? Do you get 25 bookings for every 1,000 visitors? Those would be two fairly typical ratios. If you only get 2 bookings per 1,000 visitors, that's really worrying. If you get 100 bookings per 1,000 visitors, obviously you probably have a very successful website. In fact, if you get 1 in every 10 website visitors to buy a tour off you, you probably have one of the most successful tour operator websites in the entire world. But the thing is, we need to know this figure, because how do we know which traffic sources, which sources of visitors to our website are the most valuable if we don't know how well they're converting? So how many bookings do you get per 1,000 visitors? So I'm going to walk you through that initial process of someone visiting your website. We talked about it before, that the website build is one of 5 extremely important factors, and the first 0.5 seconds is extremely important when it comes to your website. Does your site load really fast? And I think you guys can probably intuitively understand that a website loading faster is more beneficial for you. In fact, I've read studies, and multiple studies, that show that for every second, just for the first couple of seconds, but for the first couple of seconds that a website loads, the website will lose around 6 to 7% of sales. And this has been discovered across many websites, including large websites. So does your website load fast? I'm actually going to give you a tip right now about how to make it load faster. So this is a screenshot of a tool that you can use. It's called Google PageSpeed Insights. I'll repeat that for you. Google PageSpeed Insights. And actually, we'll get Rebecca to leave the name of that in the chat right now. Google PageSpeed Insights. We'll actually get her to leave a link to that in the chat, to that in the chat, so you can go check your own website out when you feel like doing that. And basically, it's a tool that allows you to check what is Google's perception of the speed of your website. And this is a result that one of our own customers got with a website that we built for him, and it was TasmanianSafaris.com, and he got 51 out of 100 on desktop. And as you can see, that's red, which means this is not a good result. And then if you look at mobile, they didn't have a good result either. And you might think, well, this seems really technical and really complicated, but there's actually something we can do very quickly to optimize those images. And we did it for Tasmanian Safaris. And actually, in the space of half an hour's work, I was able to take their score on desktop from 51 out of 100 to 88 out of 100. And this is a tool that, like I said, it's made by Google, which means that it actually affects how Google perceives your website. So I'll show you very quickly how to do that right now. And what all you do is you visit the website, and I'll just go back here. You click on that Desktops tab. So once you go to Google PageSpeed Insights, you put your website right there, and you click Analyze. And then you'll see Mobile, and then you'll see Desktop. What you need to do is click on Desktop, and then scroll the way down, and then you'll see Download Optimized Image, JavaScript, and CSS Resources. If you click that link, you'll automatically download a whole bunch of stuff. And you just need to open that zip file. But the key thing here is you need to find the images, because Google actually automatically can optimize those images for you. So once you've got those downloaded images, you can just go back and edit your website, replace your old images with these new optimized images, and then you can actually see what happens. Now, I recommend saving those old images first in case something goes wrong, because there actually are a few things that could go wrong. But if you do this, like I said, I'm going to show you this result again. We went from 51 out of 100 to 88 out of 100. Now, this is just a score. And obviously the thing that really matters when it comes to a website is how effective it is. So the score is it's like a nice scorecard for how your website is actually performing. And if I get my website to load nice and quickly, that means someone's much more likely to see the best of what I've got to offer and buy from me. All right. So the next thing about those first 0.5 seconds is, does it work on mobile? Since 2015, so since January of last year, over 50% of searches conducted through Google are done on mobiles. So you need to make sure that your website is optimized for mobile. If it is not optimized for mobile, I can literally physically guarantee you that it is losing sales. In fact, I had the privilege of talking to one of the world's biggest experts on conversion rate optimization, which is a field of web design which only focuses on increasing sales of already existing websites. And he told me that by going to mobile, literally 100% of the projects he's worked on have seen an increase in sales. So you can check your own site. If you just go to Google and you type in Google mobile friendly test, it's a nice little way to check if your website is not friendly for mobile. But I need to actually add the caveat in here. Just because it says yes doesn't actually mean that your website is correctly optimized for sales. Just because your website is responsive, which means that your website automatically adapts itself to the size of the screen, doesn't mean that's being done correctly. Because a lot of people just do it. They just install a plugin, maybe if you have a WordPress account, or they just do it in some other way. They try to do it quickly, but in most cases, it's actually built incorrectly. People on iPhone are actually much more likely, and just in smartphones in general, actually, are much more likely to give up on a website in the first 2 seconds. So we need to make sure that we're actually catering to them. So here's an example. A website we built called Taste It Tours. It's a food tours company in Phoenix, Arizona. The previous website looked like that website did on the left, on mobile. Someone would have to pinch and zoom. It's a very uncomfortable experience for many people. But if you look on the right-hand side, you can see that there's the menu is quite clear. There's a button that's quite clear, and obviously maybe it doesn't come across fully clearly on the slides, but the effect for them was enormous. So then, okay, so we've gotten past the first 0.5 seconds. The website has loaded correctly. What happens in the first 10 seconds? Well, Pep Lyer is actually the name of that guy that I was just talking about, who's an expert in website sales. And one of his big phrases that he always says is, clarity trumps persuasion. Clarity trumps persuasion. And what does this mean? It basically means that in your descriptions, especially the names of your tours and also the headline of your website, you need to be extremely literal in how you describe yourself. So don't try to be overly creative. You want to let's just say you're doing a tour of, say, San Diego. You might not call it like a tour of sunlight. That means nothing. You might say San Diego walking tours as your first headline, and that helps people understand exactly what it is you offer. So first 10 seconds, number one, like I said, we need to be crazy obvious. We cannot, like I said, play games, especially with the first few steps, because the first goal of the website is to help people understand instantly what it is we do, that they've arrived at the right spot. Step two is, don't use sliders. Now, sliders are those things when you go to a website and you see different offers scrolling around, or different photos, or different titles. Don't do that. Endless amounts of studies have shown that this does not work. And you might be thinking, well, why does my web designer actually do this? Well, I would say that's a good question. Does your web designer just build websites by guessing or by testing? 3, text needs to be readable and much more than you think. I go to so many tour operator websites that are built just this one point. So many people screw up, and it hurts your sales, trust me, because I am someone who struggles to read text if it is not black on a white background. I can read text somewhat against a colored background, but if you're asking me to read a paragraph of text or 2 paragraphs of text and it's not a black text on a white background, I will leave your website unless you have the most amazing discount special in the world or something like that, but I will leave your website. So that's why if you go to Google, if you go to Yahoo, if you go to nytimes.com, that's New York Times, if you go to CNN.com, if you go to The Guardian, you go to all the big websites in the world, all of them, black text on white. There's a reason for this. All of these websites have tested it. Don't try to be more clever than the biggest websites in the world. Try to copy them. Number 4, obviously, an attractive website. It is not a huge factor, but it is a factor in making sales, because it's about credibility. It's about the ability to generate partners to your website as well, because don't forget, not just people going on tours, coming and visiting your website, but also people who are representing groups who are considering using you. And the fifth thing is we need to drive the first click. And this is one of the really big key lessons I learned when I was managing those 50 to 60 online marketing campaigns at any one time. I learned that the websites that were most successful are the ones that drove the first click. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, basically, you need to give people somewhere to click, a very obvious place to click in the first few seconds. So like a button or tiles to click on. Most websites, you visit them, and it's just like, okay, there's welcome, there's a few photos, and I'm looking around, I'm like, where am I meant to click? Many people are very distracted when using the internet, or maybe they're a bit lost, or maybe they're a bit overwhelmed, or maybe they're tired, or maybe they're stressed from the day, or maybe they're watching their TV, maybe they have kids tugging at their arm. We need to make sure that it's extremely obvious for them to know what their next step is. Okay. So here's this is the website we built, Tasmanian Safaris, for a company in Tasmania, Australia, that does walking safaris, and you can see that those tiles clearly show people where to click. You see the headline is extremely clear: Tasmanian Safaris, Tasmanian Eco Tours that take you beyond the scenery. You got the menu up there if someone wants to read that. But the key is, someone wants to use that, I mean to say, but the key is, like I said, to be 100% obvious, 100% clear, show very quickly what it is people are looking at. That's a photo of Tasmania if you haven't figured that one out yet. And then you have those clear buttons as well. So the next step, once we've gotten people through that first process of sticking on our website, is to actually win the sale. Because remember, what is the goal of having a website? The goal of having a website is not to be attractive, it's not to look amazing, it's not to have a great description, it's not to win prizes. The goal of having a website is to make sales. So we need to do everything we can to make sales. Anything that distracts or hinders a sale is a bad thing, obviously. So let's talk about the good things. So basically, once people are buried in your site, they're starting to come towards decision-making time. So that's why we need to talk about what makes you special as opposed to someone else. So we need to drip credibility signals all over our websites, mentioning the prizes and awards, demonstrating our media mentions, talking about our expertise and experience. So how many years have you been in business, or what licensing do you have, or if let's just say you do tours of Hollywood, you could talk about how you worked in the film industry for 20 years, that kind of thing. Testimonials are great, but obviously people suspect testimonials. I remember one time, one of our own customers sent us me an email accidentally, what was meant to go to another team member of theirs, saying, let's just fake the testimonials and get real testimonials later. That's obviously a really bad thing to do. And I told this to them. And video testimonials are great. They're better than photos with testimonials. And photos with testimonials are even better than just text testimonials, which could easily be invented. So they need to feel real and authentic and talk about the things that make you different. Industry memberships, obviously, is very helpful. And the amount of years you've been in business and the number of customers you have had. So you might talk about, we've been in business since 1997. We've had over 1,500 happy guests on our tours. That's something that's pretty convincing. You're very experienced at this. You know what you're doing. All right. So here's an example of someone else. And ironically, this is actually kind of funny. I mentioned this website on another webinar, and someone emailed him and said, hey, this guy just mentioned you on the webinar, and he actually came up and signed up with us for a new website. But they have done one or two things correctly on the old one, which is that title, World's Best Dolomites Walking Tours. That is so clear what this tour is. So clear. And then that subheadline, over 1,000 happy guests since 1983. What an excellent idea. What a great subheadline to put, because it is so clear that this guy has a lot of experience and a lot of happy guests to his tours. All right. So next thing is to make an amazing about page that demonstrates your personality, your authority, and your social proof. So the one thing you're going to discover is that the more expensive your tour is, the more people will visit your about page. So for cheaper tours, those tours that are less than $100, we find that maybe 5 to 10% of visitors to our customers' websites typically visit the about page. But for people who sell tours that are more than $1,000, we typically find about 30 to 40% of people are visiting the about page. So why are people visiting the about page? And we need to start with that. We need to think, if I'm going to make a page, what is the purpose? And obviously, if people are going to visit this page, what is their purpose? And the purpose of someone visiting the about page is because they're trying to comfort themselves. They want to know that you actually are a business that has personality, that has authority and social proof. So what does that mean? So personality, you're not boring. So people are going to spend a lot of time with you. They're going to spend a lot of time with you. So we need to make sure the display that we have a bit of personality. We can do that through photos and videos in our descriptions. Authority refers to how much time we've been in the game, what our experience is, all that credibility stuff I was talking about 2 seconds ago. Next one is social proofs. That's talking about testimonials and your memberships and the validations you've received. If we create a great mix of personality, authority, and social proof, that leads to a good about page. So this is a photo that one of our clients use. They call it a scapegoat. And this is the photo they use on their about page. They're a quirky kind of fun company. And this is a photo of Ian and his wife. And they're making a face to a goat. And it's just a nice little way that they show that they're a bit playful and they're not very boring. So that kind of leads me into the next point is let's take some amazing photos. And actually, it's funnily enough, way before, many years ago, before I worked in online marketing, I used to work in real estate. And in real estate, what I discovered, and it was amazing, the difference that photos makes is incredible, and the same thing applies to tourism. So you might have a photo of the same thing that everyone else has seen, but if you can basically tell the story of the magic of your tour through incredible photos, then it just makes a great web design so much easier. Show yourself and your guests having fun on a sunny day. And also don't forget Facebook. See, I'll get into that in 1 second actually. So the first tip is use photos that show what makes a trip with you special. So if we go to vantigosf.com, these guys they're an amazing company. They've gone to #1 in San Francisco just within a few years. And they do tours with their VW vans of San Francisco. So that photo that they have there, right there, it's so clear, it's so obvious. San Francisco tours with the van in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. Those words combined with that photo come back to that clarity I was talking about. And also show what makes a trip with them special. Because their unique point of difference is the fact that they use these renovated, remodeled vans that everyone finds super fun. Step 2 is never use photos from a cloudy or semi-clouded day. You need to show the tour at its best. So it's funny, I showed you guys that website a little while back of Tasmanian safaris. Unfortunately, Tasmania is a very cloudy place. So it may be even unrealistic to show only a sunny day. But typically what you want to do is generally show sunny days because you need to show the tour at its best. We, as human beings, we associate clouds with negative emotions. And obviously blue skies with the fantasy and the dream of going on holidays. Don't forget, you are so used to going on tours. It's just something you just do because you lead tours every day of your life, or at least many days of your life. But most people who go on tours, when they're booking, they're stuck in the middle of their winter. The sunny day is one of the things you're selling them. So we need to make sure our photos are taken on excellent, beautiful, sparkling days in their best conditions. Number 3, use a pro or get a great camera. For the love of God, please do not use an iPhone, ever. Don't use an iPhone. They take great photos, but not good enough photos for a tour company. So surftoursnicaragua.com. This is a company that offers surf tours in Nicaragua. They often their learn to surf package page. And one thing you'll discover right here is a photo of someone learning to surf. And it's really interesting. So it's a great quality photo. It's a great quality photo. And you'll notice that it's someone who's just quite obviously just beginning to learn how to surf. And it's really interesting that they chose to show a woman instead of a man in this photo, because I think it's a really great way to show women who are looking at the site that they can feel comfortable coming on this trip, that they will be included and they'll be catered for. Because don't forget, in some niches, so they show photos of like fit guys having a great time, and a lot of women don't want to go on a tour just with a bunch of jocks who are 22 years old and getting drunk. We need to show something that make sure our photos appeal to our entire market that we're actually trying to appeal to. So these guys have done an amazing job. They've used an incredible quality camera, and this website performs incredibly well. We've done testing on the photos that they use, and it's crazy. People love the photos. Number 4 is use photos that make people say, I want to do that. So I'm just going to take a drink for 1 second of my water. Okay, thanks. All right, thanks for waiting. So I showed this website to someone, and as you guys are probably aware, we do a lot of testing, and one thing we do is user testing. And if you've never done a user test before, it's a really great idea. What you can do is just take your website and put it in front of someone who's never visited the website before and say, navigate, or like, I want you to find this specific tour that we offer. I want you to find, say, my Hawaii tour. And you'll find that just by watching people navigate your website, that the natural reactions guide you. And when I showed this website to someone, it was amazing. Their very first reaction was, I want to do that. And that was incredible. And it shows someone, slightly nervously, but with a thumbs up. She's got a happy face, and she's writing. I can't quite remember the name of it, but it's where you have that. It's like the tubes that kind of lift you up into the sky, and the literal headline: 25 years of experience, combined with that photo. It does such an excellent job. And if you do this kind of thing where people can clearly see some amazing photos of your incredible experience, it just takes you such a long way to getting in a tour booking. So the next one, and I mentioned before that I was going to come back to this. So this one is used photos people could envision using as their Facebook profile picture. So if we step back, don't you think she would use that as a Facebook profile picture, as a Facebook cover picture? This guy from GuideAdvisor, he's got photos of him feeding kangaroos. Do you think that's an incredible photo? So when you use your photos, what you can do is you can sprinkle photos around your page of guests having an incredible time, and then guests can mentally see themselves, oh wow, these are the photos I'm going to have to show to my friends and family. These are the photos that I'm going to be uploading. And this may seem really stupid, like really Facebook profile pictures, but hey, this is 2016. This is the world we live in. We know that it's not just about the tour and the memories, it's also about the selfies, right? Am I right? So we need to think about all of this stuff. And this guy, I guarantee you, I've never met this guy, I don't know who he is, but I guarantee you he uploaded this photo as his Facebook profile picture, because there's nothing better than this. So we need to think about how we can show people now having fun on our tours so people can automatically see themselves in that same situation. But it's not just about photos, it's also about videos. Great videos make you forgettable. They take a website from being, yeah, that was a pretty good website, that was a pretty nice website, to being unforgettable. Even a bad website with a good video becomes incredible. Weeks after visiting your website, literally weeks, they will still remember you. When was the last time you remembered a website for weeks and weeks and weeks after visiting it? It's pretty rare. And there's a good chance that the only circumstance where that happens is where there's a video on the website. I still remember, there's so many companies that I still remember, still live with me because of the video. And we have a client, he's in New York, and it's amazing. We've done user testing for his website. We put it in front of people like, oh yeah, this seems nice, this seems nice. And then after watching his video, they're like, I would love to go on a tour with him. He just seems like such a friendly, amazing guy. And boom, user is sold. The website visitor is sold. So if we can just show, and his video was professionally done and that helps, but I've been to websites that on their about page, it's just a guy saying, hey, my name's Bob, I do tours of this place. And he was just talking to one person actually and explaining to them his own tours, because it feels much more comfortable on video to have another person with you, you're just talking to. And he was just explaining to another person, that person asked him a couple of questions, and that was it. That was the end of the video. And still 2 years later to this day, it's stayed with me, because I was like, man, he just seems like such a good guy. I would love to go on a tour with him, because, you might see a photo of me, you might see some text of me talking about me, but you're hearing me on a webinar right now, and that gives you an amazing idea about how I actually am. So videos just go so far. And we're coming towards the end of this presentation. I know this has been a lot of information. Like I said, you are going to get the full replay if you need to go back through it. But we just got a few seconds more, and we're going to wrap up, and we're going to give you the access to that gift that I told you about. So we've come up with a method of writing tour descriptions, which we call write better tour descriptions. The first thing is bullet points. So we need to have bullet points that really quickly go through the tour, so people can see the highlights straight away. The second thing is we need to exhibit the experience in a longer form version, so people who really want to get the full feeling of the tour, they can go through that and read it for themselves. And this is not just text, but also photos and videos. Next thing is tick the boxes. So basically we need to understand what are the exact things that people coming on this kind of tour are looking to see or do or experience. And not just that, we need to think about, well, if I offer facilities for disabled people, Obviously, people who are disabled or are going to be traveling with the disabled are going to be thinking about this. So you need to make sure that it's quite clear that this is a tour that's friendly to people with disabilities, for example. Testimonials, I've gone through that already. Exhibiting your expertise, so seeing if you can figure out a way in your tour descriptions to just drop maybe 1 or 2 little references in there about how you're an expert, and maybe talk about drawing upon your, say, 20 years of experience, or maybe, and this is, you don't have to do it so directly. You can talk about, for example, we're going to visit this famous Italian restaurant and get the insider scoop. Through a relationship with them, we're going to be able to meet the actual chef, and he'll take you through every dish. That's just one example. And then the final thing is we need to ask people to actually reserve the tour. This is amazing how many tour operator websites I've been to. You read the tour and then there's no booking button. There's no link saying, hey, book now. It's just like, all right, I've read the tour, now what do I need to do? We need to, like I said, we need to remember that people are distracted, they're hurried, they're being dragged around by the kids, or the internet's being slow, or whatever the case. So we need to make sure that we're very clear. Okay, you've read the description, now's the time to book, and make it very easy for people. All right, so one thing that's going to be very helpful for you is GuideAdvisor actually has their own dashboard, which hooks up with Google Analytics, and it gives you a whole bunch of really cool statistics. You can see a couple here, such as page visits by country and clicks to your site, and emails to your site, and all that kind of stuff. And it is really, really good way for you to analyze. So basically, if you look at your own tour descriptions, 1% of people clicking through to your site or emailing you after reading your tour description, or 4%. And all those things I've been talking about this entire time, they don't just apply to your website, they all apply to your GuideAdvisor account. So if you're a GuideAdvisor member, and most of you will be having registered for this webinar, but if you're not, go check it out. If you are, go check it out. Go log into your account, click on your dashboard, and you'll be able to see it right there. So yeah, that's about it. But I need to ask you a question. Your website, is it a weapon? And I call this the weapon principle. And the basic idea of this is the weapon principle means that you are never going to be the only website that someone checks out. It's extremely rare in a normal booking flow that yours is the only tour that someone checks out. No, they're going to check out a whole bunch of tours, and it's going to be a war in their mind. Or there could even be a war within the families. I could have my fiance sitting next to me, and I could be sitting here over here, and I'm like, yeah, actually, I want to do this tour. And the fiance is like, well, actually, check out this website I just found. It's like, look at that. They've been around since 1997. Oh wow, they've done over 1,000 tours. Okay, look at the photos. They look amazing. Yeah, they actually kind of do. And me, I'm not even thinking about that other website I visited before, because my fiance successfully used your website as a weapon. So we're going to make it very quick offer for you guys. You guys have probably gotten a hint by now that we build websites just for tour operators, for no one else, multi-day tour operators and local tour operators. That is all we do. We're going to give you 60% off until March 10th. That's right, 60% off until March 10th. Our websites are normally $19.99. You get a website with us, it's going to cost you $12.49. That's the base price. And you have to book a call with me, talk with me, and pay a deposit by March 10th. So it gives you about 7 days. So I'm going to give you a link very shortly, and here's the thank you. So basically, all that stuff that we're just talking about is on that thank you page. So if you go to tourismtiger.com, GuideAdvisor-thank-you, you can see the link right there. Someone's going to actually post this link into the chat box right now as well. And if you want to get in touch with me, that's totally cool. Just contact me, Matthew@tourismtiger.com. You can also contact GuideAdvisor by emailing them hello@guideadvisor.com. And I misspelled that. I'm so sorry. I typed it in wrong. hello@guideadvisor.com. So you obviously need to put the E after the D. hello@guideadvisor.com. Also, just check out guideadvisor.com. It's a really cool website, and a recording will be emailed to you. So the link to the free book is going to be on that thank you page above. The link to your free video course is going to be linked on that page above. The link to GuideAdvisor is going to be on that page above. And also include the link to book a call with me if you want to book a call with me as well. And your recording will be emailed to you. So if you have any questions, leave them in the box. I think we have Pam back with us. Do we have Pam?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm excited to welcome you back, Pam. What did you think of the presentation?
Yeah, it was great. I can only echo so many of the recommendations that you made. Videos and photos we have found are incredibly key to engaging the visitors, and reviews and testimonials as well. And tour descriptions, we find huge differences between the response where the descriptions are really compelling the visitors. So great advice.
Yeah, so I'd be really curious to hear more about that. So when you say compelling to visitors, what is the nature of a description on GuideAdvisor that people find compelling?
Well, I think when you're actually putting the person into the experience and painting the picture very clearly about what the prior customers have experienced, and pointing out what's different between perhaps a tour offered by a competitor. So we see that those things clearly can delineate one guide's offering from another's.
That's fascinating, and it's funny. I think a lot of people, they don't really think about those kinds of statistics, where 2% of people might click through, or 4% of people might click through, because and I think it's so fantastic. I think it's so fantastic that you guys have that stat in your dashboard, because it makes people really think, okay, my descriptions and my photos and all that kind of stuff are going to directly affect the percentage of people who click through an email.
Right, and we do recommend that people pay close attention to those statistics, and when they have a desire to change them, to improve them, that they reach out to us and look for advice, and we'll do an audit of their profile and make recommendations that can really make a difference.
That's incredible, because they can then apply that knowledge to their website as well, right?
You bet, you bet. I mean, it is, they are both websites, so the same principles apply. Exactly. We're just displaying perhaps to a broader, wider, more targeted audience, right?
Absolutely.
I see there's a question there in the chat box.
That's right. Christine, thank you for your question. Christine says, in the clarity trumps persuasion part, your visual said don't use sliders. What are sliders, please? Okay, so thanks for the question, Christine. So basically, sliders are otherwise known as carousels. So basically, sometimes when you go to a website, you'll notice that you'll have various things sliding through. So it might say, go to our Peru tour, and then something else will slide past, and it'll say, go to our Argentina tour, and then it'll say, go to our Chile tour, and there's various offers rotating on the homepage. Now, many studies have shown that this is actually a really bad idea. In fact, if you Google effect of sliders on website conversions, or if you Google effect of carousels on website conversions, every single Google result in the top 10 says don't do it. And the only reason web designers still use it is because web designers are just so busy bouncing from project to project, they don't actually take the time to make these basic Google searches to see if actually something works or doesn't work. So I hope that answers your question, Christine. All right, so wow, man, we have people are a bit shy, I think, today, Pam, in terms of the questions. Or maybe I just did such a good job at explaining it that everyone just got it straight away. But yeah, that dashboard that you guys have, like I said, it really does look incredible.
So a couple of other things that are on the dashboard that are of use are things like the link checkers, the optimization tool, and the ability for premium guides to connect their Google Analytics directly into their dashboard. So there's varying levels of functionality, but there's certainly a number of resources there that we encourage people to use to make sure that their own website is performing well and doing what they want it to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just one thing, you said there's a link checker. Can you clarify for us today what that is?
Yeah, it's a tool that scans the website, scans the website that is indicated in the guide's account at GuideAdvisor. So when you sign up, you add your own website URL into your account, and the link checker is a tool that externally goes out and checks the website for broken links, because you know how frustrating it is when you go to a website and you're clicking through and you see a tour that you want to book, and you click on it and it actually comes back as a page not found, or the link has been broken through maybe some new development or a change in the website. So this tool actually points out where broken links exist throughout a website. And so it's a really good way of keeping customers' confidence in your website, because all the pages are behaving as they should.
Yeah, absolutely. Because two big drawbacks, obviously, to having broken links on a website is the first one is that it makes your business look dead. A lot of people will be like, "Oh no, this business
Exactly.
is dead." Another reason is like SEO as well. So if Google's navigating your website and there's broken links, then it's a sign to Google as well that your business is starting to die. Okay, so we had a question from Eduardo. Can Eduardo Carrero, who said, so much options, right? I still believe 2 slides slowly with impact, right? No. So basically, Eduardo, I really need to be really clear on this. If you put sliders on your website, it will damage your business. There is no question about it. All you need to do, and I'm being very insistent here because it's absolutely true. I've done the testing. The biggest experts in the world have all done the testing. The results have been unanimous. The only reason major companies use sliders, and major companies famously use sliders for just this reason. You can ask the web designers, this is what they will tell you. That the only reason is because you have 3 vice presidents competing to put something on the homepage, and it's the only way to reach a compromise. And none of the vice presidents actually care about the effect on sales, they just care the effect of having their department on the homepage. So this is one instance where you should not imitate major companies, because nearly always the reason major companies have sliders on the websites is because they have internal political problems. All right. So basically, and I'm really passionate about this because, like I said, I've tested it so much times, and users scream in frustration when they see sliders, and especially on mobiles. We need to remember that if you don't have 50% of visitors to your website from mobiles, you will very soon. And basically, sliders are horrendous to use on mobiles because you're just trying to get to the information you want, and you have all this hidden information, and it's all confusing, and it's so tough to use, and it loads slowly. Because don't forget, sliders, because they present multiple offers, you have to load that entire slider all at once, and it slows the website loading down time. I cannot recommend it against it strongly enough. All right.
I think you're making it clear. There's
Thank you.
there's another question there
Yeah.
from one of our anonymous participants. In the better part of, what do you mean by exhibit the experience and tick their boxes?
Absolutely. So maybe I went over that a bit too quickly. So exhibit the experience is just what you were talking about. Tell the story of the experience. Make people, give the people the ability to feel it richly. So I think sometimes we've seen our descriptions so many times that we get bored with reading it, but we forget, once again, there's someone sitting in an office cubicle somewhere. It's a cold winter's day. They're thinking of booking your tour. They literally drown themselves in the information because there's this fantasy. And so we need to, like, once we got past the initial details, so people see the price, they see dates, okay, I can afford it, I can go on these dates. Then we need to actually give them the details and really exhibit and show the experience through photos, like I said, through video, and also through a detailed description so people can read it and just drink it in. Now, obviously, not everyone acts like this. Every visitor is their own way, but the people who do act like that, we need to give them the choice to be able to act like this. All right, so Eduardo says, half of a second, extremely quick to attract. So basically, a really basic principle of web design is you don't hide information, and sliders hide information. So I mean, like, obviously, you know, I've talked about it a lot. All you need to do is Google effective websites sliders on conversions, and you'll get the results. If honestly, if like all the tests in the world don't convince you, then you know, I think maybe it's time to just take a step back, because we all need to remember that the goal of a website is what? Sales. The goal of a website is simple: sales. So basically, it's not my website, it's not your website. It's kind of like the website is its own entity, and what that website wants is sales. And how do we give that website what it wants? Well, we give it the tools it needs, the design it needs. So sometimes when people visit the websites we've designed, they're kind of like, oh, this is it? Because it just feels too simple. But that's the whole idea. It feels simple. It feels clear. It feels clean, and that's that's the exact thing we actually want from a web design. All right.
Yeah, so, I think one of the main problems that I see with sliders is sometimes I feel like I'm chasing the information I was looking for. So it was there in front of me, and I wanted to get to it, and then it disappeared and something else was there. And
it's so annoying.
I think people do get frustrated and abandon a site quite easily when that circumstance is occurring.
And Eduardo says people may be looking for experiences instead of tours. And of course they're looking for experiences. They're looking for good experiences. And we know by testing that using sliders on your website is a bad experience. Okay, I'm not going to debate it anymore. I just really want people to understand that this is not an open topic anymore. This is a closed topic. So, but yeah, talking about experiences, that's a really great topic though that Eduardo has opened that I really think is excellent, because that's part of the reason why video is so amazing, and also great photos, because it really allows people to live the experience. I've seen so many tour descriptions where, I mean, tour photos where it's like the tour group and it's a rainy day, or it's a cloudy day, or it's like hundreds of people like squeezing these people in. It's like, what are you trying to show people here? That they're going to have a terrible time? You know? So we need to make sure we're going to show people they're going to have an amazing time, you know? So yeah, really, really take care of that. And also, Pam, I'm not sure if you are aware, but like the cost of professional photographers is actually way lower than you may think. I mean, the best in the business charge a lot of money, for sure, absolutely. But you can use a recent college graduate or someone doing a photography course in college. Make sure, though, that there's a big danger in hiring people in college or recent graduates, because they tend to have an overly sort of focused style that they might try to make your photos too arty, for example.
Yeah, I think if you have someone with experience
absolutely.
in, you know, depending on the type of pictures that you're taking, whether it's landscape or action, you know, certainly photographers have become much more affordable, professional photographers, just because of the competition out there. So it's a good idea to take advantage if you can.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where you don't want to cut corners. So someone's actually just asked about Google PageSpeed Insights. So if people can see my screen, I'm actually going to show you physically an example right now. How does that sound? So I've just looked for Google PageSpeed Insights. I've just gone to, I'm going to go back to Tasmanian Safaris, like this. I'm clicking my website, by the way, because I'm in Chile, Google's giving me everything in Spanish, but obviously you guys could probably get that the big blue button is the one you should be clicking. All right, so you can see that it's got on mobile, it's got 72, on computer, it's got 86. And so it's going to show in English, it's going to show mobiles, and then it's going to show desktop. So instead of, it says ordenador, but it says desktop. So if you click on desktop, you'll see your number there. And you just scroll all the way down, and there's a link saying download the resources. Obviously, mine says descarga los recursos de imagen. Obviously, ignore that. It's going to say download the optimized image, JavaScript, and CSS resources. And you just click, like I'm doing right now. You just click and you download it, and it gives you the zip file. We open the zip file, and obviously with zip files, you need to right-click and extract. And away we go. There we go. So we're going to have the images right there. So I hope that makes sense to you in terms of that question. So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone has any more questions. Hope that made sense to you, Santa. That response in terms of how to download those. And basically, like I said, if you're gonna optimize your images, you need to make sure you have the previous images saved, because sometimes Google does screw it up slightly. So make sure you have those images saved.
Good advice.
Then yeah, exactly. Have them backed up, have them saved. And if you don't know how to do it, maybe you have a web designer on your team. So we actually have a thing where we actually stay with people for months and months, for years even, and for as long as they want, actually. And if they want to make a change to the website and they can't be bothered, they don't know how to edit it, they just send it through and we make the edits for them. So maybe you have a web designer that will do that for you too, so you can just send those images through to him. So the Anon says the Google PageSpeed test compresses some images changing from JPG to PNG. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So PNG is actually not such a bad thing in most cases that Google does this, because PNG is the type of file that loads the fastest. But like I said, it could cause damage to the images. So that's why you need to make sure that the images are still okay to be uploaded before you actually upload them back to your site. All right, and yeah, so I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Pam, for the opportunity. I really, really enjoyed making that presentation, and I hope you enjoyed having me on.
We absolutely did. And so for everyone out there, you know, if you have questions, like we said, that occur to you later, don't hesitate at all to reach out to either TourismTiger or to us at GuideAdvisor. We're happy to help.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Thank you, Pam. And I'm going to shut this webinar off in 3, 2, 1. Oh, we have a question.
Oh, Eduardo.
Eduardo, man, one last second comment. Eduardo, he says, I run a DMC. You need to be congruent with what you offer online. Once just client suggestion, you need to deliver what you offered. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't agree more.
So this is one thing I was saying before, that, like, for example, Tasmania, you wouldn't want to necessarily show people, like dancing on tropical beaches, because obviously Tasmania in Australia is a fairly cold place. And obviously your photos need to reflect that as well. So absolutely make sure you're not overloading people's expectations, because you could increase your sales, but you're going to get a whole bunch of negative reviews later. So thank you for pointing that out, Edward. It's a very valuable point.
Absolutely.
All right. So, man, I feel nervous that everyone's just saying thank you now. All right. Well, thank you so much, Eduardo. Thank you guys, everyone else. We're gonna have that presentation. The entire replay is gonna come out to email in the next, I think, 24 hours. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, thanks once again.
Thanks very much, Matt. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye. 3, 2, stop.